Hi everyone, Jeannie here with Belly Beads Handmade Jewelry. Here today to bring you a tutorial on a new shape bead. Now we typically as paper beaders know about the round bead. We have our round beads, we have our square pillow beads, and we have all different types of shapes, but I've never seen any shape like this before. So I decided to share this tutorial with you. Now, as you can see here, I've created this, it looks like almost like an abstract necklace. It's a pendant, and I created this with one of my new beads, and they're square. Or maybe rectangle. I'm not quite sure. It's definitely a rectangle in length and a square at the tip of that hole. So it's quite unique, but I was really excited about it, so I wanted to share it. I'm going to show you today how to create it. So there aren't any fancy tools that I used for this other than a brass bar, which is kind of different and unique, correct? The bar here I have is, it's 12 inches long. But if you see the tip of it, right there, that is a 6.3 millimeter in diameter. Then I have another size, 12 inches long. This is 1/8 diameter. So I have two different sizes, and today I'm going to show you what type of result you're going to get from a bead. Now, there's one thing I do want to remind you of. You don't have to get any other fancy measurements of strips on the beads. I've been using what I have, so I was pretty happy to know that I didn't have to recreate any other type of shape. So let's get started. I'm going to begin with the 6 millimeter one. Now, I thought about it for a moment. It is quite long to handle, but I can reach my fingers up here, or I could have just cut it in half, right? But I'm going to leave it long. And I'm going to show you why. Let's begin. Here is one strip. I have actually 3 strips. Now, there's no rule to using certain strips. And you know the old golden rule, of course. We want to make sure that our strips match up at the end. This rule is thrown out. You can do whatever you want to create a really unique square shape. I'm going to obviously get the largest strip here. And this isn't really cumbersome to use. If I place my strip right up against the bar here, I can hold it and still turn it. You know the old way where we have, well, it's not an old way, but it's the paper rollers where they have that little slot and you want to slip it in there. I thought it might be difficult for me to use this because I'm so accustomed to using the slot. There's no need. I have this. So here we go. Get my index finger, hold that there, wrap this around, and there you go. You want to fix it like we always do, even with a paper roller. And just keep winding it. And I think that I found this was very easy. It wasn't hard on my hands at all. And just flip it over like I typically do with all my other beads, my round beads, and there you go. Now I'm going to build up on this one. Excuse me. Now you might think with this type of bead is their durability, because if you take a look at the inside, I'm going to show you the inside of this. It seems pretty empty. It looks like there's no durability, but I will tell you this has been dipped and glazed, and I am pressing really hard. Now see, if I press it really hard, I'm pressing really hard, and it's durable. It's not collapsing. So let's continue with this one. I just thought this was such a great another avenue, a different shape we can use in incorporation with our other round beads. And now typically we would line up the last strip of this bead to the next strip when we attach it, correct? Well, those rules are thrown out. I would like to just place it around this bead, and it doesn't obviously match up, but it gives it a little bit of a character, I think. And also the best way that I think that you can really incorporate other colors is by cutting out all different color strips, right? And then you can actually make your beads look like they're multicolor. Now, if I wanted to, I can place or roll a white bead over top of it, or a darker green, because this has like almost like a fluorescent green in it. But this, I just decided I'm just going to keep it like that. All right. Now, this is the best part ever. Typically, we would take this off, right, and then put it to the side because, of course, we're going to get ready to string them, but we don't have to. And the best part of this is you can just allow this to let set dry, because sometimes I'll pull my beads off and they're not really dried yet from the glue. So here we go. I'm going to try it again. And I can sit here and just roll them all the way down this 12-inch rod, and I wouldn't have to worry about constantly pulling them off and placing. I mean, not that it's a whole lot of time consumed, but it does make it a whole lot easier. It's really kind of neat when I don't have to touch them, right? So I'm going to do something a little differently. Excuse me. This is where you're going to notice that these are not lining up, but there's a purpose to this. And remember, the more paper you have around it, the more durable it will be. But remember also, be mindful, the more paper around it may come out to look like a round bead, and you want to remain the square bead to make the shape look square. But you can decide, you can be the judge on that. Now, I'm ready for another one. I think I want to have another strip in there, but I think I want to make it a little bit more fancier. So let me see, should I use this one? I think I'll use a smaller one. Okay, here's a smaller one. And here we go. Want to make sure that I'm in the camera there. And I have to tell you, this is not hurting my wrist at all. Even though it's a different shape, it's square, not round, like our typical paper rollers. Now, look what my point is here. I can take this whole entire row and just roll my beads, right? Then I don't even have to take them off to string them. I can dip them into my PC petrifier, which I typically do. Let them dry, and there we go. And then glaze them. Because this is metal, it does not stick. And I usually suspend it. There's the hole there. I'll suspend it in the air on my drying rack. So it's kind of cool. Now I'm going to take these off, and I'm going to show you the strips. Oh, let me take some glue off of me. All right, here are the strips here. Okay. There we go. Look at that. Is that not the coolest thing? Okay. Next, I want to show you how I create the effect of the gold leafing on here. Right? Now, I have used Mod Podge in the past, and it may work, but I am using this adhesive specifically used for gold leaf. Okay, and I'll show it to you, and I'll have it all in the comments, the description. You want to get a brush, dip it into your adhesive. Now, they also have these pens that are glue that you can actually just rub along here and apply the gold leaf, but I don't have access to that. So I'm going to use my adhesive. And as if you can see, I'm carefully just placing that adhesive along the line of the shape of the square. Now this has to set for just a moment, okay? So I'm going to do this one. This one looks a little bit more square as the other one, doesn't it? So again, play with the strips. See if you want to adjust the sizing. But I didn't have any problem. I just used the same size as I would use for a smaller, for the round beads. All right, so let me go ahead. I'm going to put these over here so you can see them and see the miracle happening right now because I have so much fun with this. All right, so we did this one. I'm going to show you. I have and if you've never worked with gold leaf yet, they come in little pages, well, square sheets, and they're very delicate, so you have to be very careful with them because they can fly away. Do not breathe, have a fan or an open window around them because they will fly away. They're all over the place. So I'm going to grab some, and I think the easiest way is to just grab some with either my finger or you can use a brush. With this technique, because I want to show you exactly what it looks like with the bead. So we put the adhesive, placed it right around there. I'm going to turn it upside down on top of the gold leaf, and you want to burnish, kind of like rub that in to the bead itself. I usually wait a moment before I even touch it because it's still kind of wet. I mean, if you've done gold leaf before and you're comfortable with brushing it away right now, that's fine. But I'm going to leave that for just a moment. And here's the other one that we place the adhesive around. And this one I think I'm going to do with I'm going to cover it with a rose gold. That's a pretty color, right? And there's the rose gold upside down. And just kind of put it in there, right there. Now you can always go back over it if you find that it's coming off. You can always place the adhesive back on there again and then reapply some more gold leafing. So I'm going to go back to the other one now. Now with this technique, you want to use a dry brush, and after a while, the dry brush will not be dry anymore. So you want to make sure that you have a nice size, supply of brushes, dry brushes, because they will probably get wet as well. So with this, you can just brush them along, brush that off. But if you notice, see, the adhesive is getting somewhat on that. But the point of this is just brushing it away. Make sure you burnish that in there and brush it away. So it gives a nice little edge to it. Now you don't have to do this. You can certainly use other things if you like, if you want to paint them. But I just thought this gave a little bit more of an elegant kind of look. Okay, so there you go. That's the one. Now I think sometimes I go a little bit too much with, I do a little too much, but I like this. It looks like that it was gold leaf splattered all over it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you. I'm going to dip my paintbrush in the adhesive, and I'm just going to dab it on the paper towel and just put a little bit around here. Now you have to be mindful, if this isn't the look you're trying to get, then try to make sure you always wipe your fingers in between when you're doing the top of this, when you're creating the top, because this stuff can get all over. So I have that in there. You know what? I'm gonna use this gold. Now I just sporadically place the adhesive. I'm gonna brush that off now. And look at that. Isn't that the coolest thing? Doesn't that give such a different look to the paper bead itself? Let me see if I can get that in there real nice and clear so you can see. How about if I do this? Put that in there. Nope. Here we go. See if you can get a better look of it. So that definitely works. Now, if you want to create holes in your bead, like I did with this one, I would do it before I glazed it. I used one of these manual drills, and I just drilled right through here and through the other end. It didn't collapse on me, but you do want to be careful. It may collapse if you're drilling a little too hard. Now let's go back to our rose copper. And let's go ahead and brush that off and see what that one looks like. Now see, I'm glad it did this so I can show you some of it's coming off, right? So you just reapply the adhesive right over it. It does not hurt it at all. Wait a little bit and then reapply some more gold leaf. Brush it off, and then you'll have more gold leaf on there. Now, of course, you have to clean all that up, but I think you get the picture, right? All right, so then after that is completed, you want to go ahead and glaze. You can glaze it. Now, if you didn't want to do this, you can keep them, like I mentioned in the beginning, you can keep them on the bar itself and then dip them. But if you wanted to do this, obviously, you would have to do this first so you can create these pretty little gems here. Now, there's another shape that we can use. This is a little smaller shape, same shape, it's square. And I usually have a little smaller pieces of strips, and they're just shaped. And again, there's no specific measurements for this specific tool. The paper that you're using with your round paper roller is fine. So it's definitely the same thing. There's nothing harder or easier with this one. I place the strip right here, my index finger there, and I hold it, and then I start to turn, and that just grabs on itself. It's just simply amazing because I'm so used to using my paper roller with the little slot, and that helps to keep it taut. But this one is pretty good. I mean, nothing is coming apart. I use my glue. And there you go. I'm going to put this aside for now because I want to show you what I'm going to do with this one. Now again, we can just go right down the row there. Just continue rolling these beads. It's amazing, but I love it because I don't have to keep taking them off. And I can dip them here. If I'm not going to use the gold leafing, if I'm not going to use the gold leafing, I will keep them on here and just go ahead and dip them and then glaze them, because I had no problems with them sticking. But again, you know, just it's trial and error, and you'll see. And what I like about this, again, as I mentioned, I keep mentioning it because I think it's so cool that I don't have to keep removing my beads. They can sit here and dry without having me disturb them. And I can do a whole row and then just take them off. Now, we have round grommets. Paper beaters are always putting them inside the holes that are round, but where do you get square ones? I've seen square ones. I actually have some. I couldn't find any for the 6mm square, but there are some suppliers that do carry them, and that's what I'm trying to, I'm actually ordering them for my Etsy shop. Let me show you the ones I do have, which are kind of cool. And I actually purchased these off of Etsy, and there's some square ones right here. And I'm going to show you what they look like too, on the bead itself. All right, so here's some square ones. And here are, let me see if I can grab another one. Excuse my fingers. Here's the little square one. So this was the little shapes that we made on the 1/4 inch bar. And here it is with the square grommet. So it kind of just nicely finishes it off. Now, if you're wondering, you know, I was a little reluctant on these because it was almost surpassing the size of the bead, but I think I fixed it by just painting. I painted with my brush the hole of the bead first with my paintbrush, well, my paint marker, I should say, and then place that right on there. So it's kind of cool. I mean, I like it. I think that's kind of cool. Now, I thought was really awesome was I have my white bead, right? Here's a white bead. And they are little, I guess you would say, little wreaths. They're red little wreaths that are on there. And I'm going to show you them. They're these right here. Aren't they adorable? So they're square. And then we have other square, somewhat square. They are square, but they have a little, look at these. Are they not adorable? They're the green leaves for Christmas. So let's see, what if I was to put one in here, what it would look like? Oh, I don't know. I'm not quite sure about it. I haven't used this one yet. I'm not sure. I think if we had a larger bead, it would probably sit well with me. I think that one's a little too small. But there we go. I wanted to show you this new bead that I have. I was excited to bring it to you, and I hope you enjoy it. Go ahead and make some new beads out of the brass bars that I purchased off of Amazon. I'll have all the supplies listed and where I purchased them at in the description below. All right, so until next time, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Comment below. Tell me what you think about it. Do you think that you can make something really awesome out of it? What would you make out of it? All right. Also, click on the bell so it reminds you of my next video coming up, which I will be making a whole lot more. But thank you again, and thank you so much for all your support. And have a great day, and go make some square beads. Have some fun.